Hey guys, just wanted to give you a quick review on the BMS Chelsea. It's a 150cc scooter. I've owned it for about 3 months and I haven't seen much online about them and about reviews and whatnot. I figured I'd give you guys a quick review on it, my experience from it. So I've decided to get rid of it because I just got this CBR 1000. And it happened to where I didn't know I was going to get it. I went to Pete Cycle to get a helmet for the scooter, saw this bike, and debated finances with Pete Cycle for 2 weeks until I got it down to the APR that I wanted that was reasonable. They tried to get maybe $3,000 or $4,000 extra out of me through this bike, but I did the math and played them because people weren't beating their door down to buy this bike. It's a 2011 CBR 1000. I had a R1, but got rid of that 5 years ago. Figured I'd get another one. After my experience with the scooter, because I was dissatisfied with the scooter compared to the motorcycle, of course, but I didn't have an idea of ever riding a motorcycle again until my grandmother died. It sparked something in me that made me want to get on a motorcycle all of a sudden. That's inevitably why I bought the scooter, and it just didn't do it for me because I already have that Yamaha R1 in my heart. But anyway, it's still a good vehicle. It had a few problems that I find controversial with it, that I would like you to know before you debate on buying one of these things. I mean, it looks beautiful, obviously. Everything's really neat looking about it. That's why I got it, and it was pretty hard to get it here. I had purchased it online, and they didn't have this model in stock anymore. It was still on the website, so in a way it was false advertisement. I had already paid for it. So I debated with them. They said they would find the one I was looking for. And, they found it in several colors except the one I wanted, red. And I waited about a month and a half, and they finally came up with it from California and shipped it on a train to me. And it took a while. When it got here, it wasn't the best shipping method. It was, real cheap budget quality. You can tell it was in a real cheap crate. It came on a truck from a guy that wasn't so honorable in his conduct. He ended up dropping the scooter off of the truck, but it was on a plastic pallet, which took a lot of the impact away from it. Ended up only cracking just a little piece in the back, which I fixed. And as far as that, nothing mechanically was wrong with the scooter, even though it fell off the truck. It's not like it rolled, it just hit like it would be laid down. So I'm sure it put the shocks to the test. Aside the point, you can't usually get these scooters in the state you're in. There's like there's one factory in California, and it's just it's a pain in the butt to get these things shipped to whatever state you're in, and I'm sure it could be worse. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, and yeah, they took it on a train, and it took a little while to get it legal with Maryland and all that, but once I finally did, I was taking it out and everything seemed fine. I took my girlfriend on the back a few times. It was real low in its pickup, but I didn't really give it throttle because it's not broken in at the same time. So I didn't want to, put it to the test with weight and giving it extra gas because the motor's still expanding and still breaking in. And these, I'll admit, these aren't the most durable motors. They don't have an oil filter, which means that the motors are a lot more susceptible to wear because you got the chips, the metal chips and shavings in there that wear down on the pistons and everything eventually, so they call for a constant oil change on this because there's no oil filter, which is a pain in the butt in my opinion. The scooter's not broken in until 300 miles, so they recommend you don't take it over 25 miles an hour for 300 miles. To me, that's impossible if you're going to take it out on the road anywhere. So I was just reasonable in my own mind, took it maybe to 35 at max for very short time spans, but mostly would keep it between 25 and 30 miles an hour. I take it out real late when there's no cars out and take it through, through parks and remote areas where I know there's not a lot of cars, where I didn't have to speed. So yeah, eventually I got it up to 200 miles now, but I decided to stop driving it after a few things happened to me that alarmed me with the scooter. One night I was taking it out, and I came up to a stop sign, and there was a really eerie boy standing there. It was in the woods too. I don't know what he was doing there. He was trying to get my attention. It startled me, so I blew through the stop sign. Well, I went through the park. On my way back, I came to the same stop sign. The kid was gone, but ironically, my headlight just blew out. It sounded like a gunshot came from under my scooter, and it threw me off because I thought maybe the bulb blew, but the noise came from under the scooter, so I knew that that was just denial and that I was going to have to dig deep onto what was wrong with this thing. So, you know, the bulbs are hard to find. You know, I ordered them, replaced them. Sure enough, it wasn't the bulb. I called technical support of BMS in California, and they narrowed it down to one thing. It was either the bulb or it was the relay that's connected to the ECU. Well, it just so happens, aside from the weird event with the kid, and it was strange, I had my high beam on for at least a half hour, 40 minutes, and to me the logical explanation is it surged. It surged the relay and blew it, and sure enough the part fixed it. And you know, it was a scare because these things I don't know much about, and you know, so right after that the gas light started acting really funny on it. It was fluctuating and it wasn't the actual levels. So I called technical support again, and I figured it was maybe another electronic problem. Well, it wasn't. It was actually the gas floater, which reads the gas levels, actually got stuck. And that's unsatisfactory in my opinion because, you know, I was on the impression that, you know, the scooter got good gas mileage and it was just full for a while, when in reality it just wasn't working. I almost ran out of gas before I realized that it just wasn't working. So, you know, a few other little things like little rubber gaskets that have dry rotted already in, you know, the 3 months of owning it. Important ones to where electrical parts would fall if they broke. So that was an alarm to me too. I'm not used to any of this cheap, irritating stuff happening because I'm used to a more expensive bike that's built better, and you don't typically get these problems with a Honda, you know. And which is I'm glad I got it because of this, because now I don't want the scooter, even though it's still neat to have. But the last thing that made me decide to not get a scooter or not keep the scooter was that same night right before my headlight blew out. I was at a light and it was like 2 in the morning, and there's a carload of guys that were in front of me, and they threw a carload of trash at me, and I had to dodge it in the road, and it dawned on me that nobody is going to respect me on this thing. They know it's not fast. They know that whoever's riding it isn't usually super tough. You know, so they take advantage of that, and you know, they'll run you off the road, they'll throw trash at you. As opposed to being on a machine like this, people are more intimidated to mess with somebody that would ride something like this. And it dawned on me that night that there's absolutely no point for me to have this scooter, as beautiful as it is. Yeah, it's a Vespa replica, and it's really neat looking, but it's also not a Vespa. It's from China. It's made to look like a Vespa. So I'm not saying a Vespa is super reliable and good in its manufacturing either, because I don't know. But all I know is it's 2017. We've had a lot of time to debunk technical issues with these things, and yet they're still having them. And I just don't trust it that, you know, 1,000, 2,000 miles down the road that it's not going to have any issues. I just don't trust it. And I want a vehicle that's dependable, just like a Honda or a Yamaha. I mean, even Harleys. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know. It is a very nice scooter, and it could suit you in certain situations if you have the patience for little things breaking on it. If you're willing to, you know, bear with the technical issues of the scooter, I would say go for it. it's a neat scooter. Not many are neat like that. Some of them just look really weird and creepy. This one caught my eye, and that's why I got it. And yes, I'm getting rid of it, but at the same time, it was neat to have it, neat to actually experience a scooter and ride one, since I've only been on a motorcycle. Another thing about this is if you drop it, it's ruined. I mean, you could get new fairings for it, but it's gonna be a lot of money, and there's no protection on this thing. You know, it's just gonna be completely ruined if you drop it once. So, you know, if you're gonna ride it, you gotta be careful. And you do on any two-wheel vehicle. For example, you know, my CBR, it has frame sliders. You know, that will definitely save a lot of money if it gets in a very minor accident. You can't get anything like that on a scooter. You just have to be careful. So that's my input. I'm gonna show you guys a close-up of it real quick and then let you go. It's very pretty. It's got a lot of chrome. The design's very neat. That's why I really wanted to get it. It sticks out so much. And the color is beautiful. The paint's really nice on it. It's a UV protectant paint. It's double coated. More chrome than a Harley. Looks just like a Vespa, maybe even neater. So everything's in working order on it. I'm not gonna start it because it has just a little bit of old gas on it, and it's not gonna be good for the motor, especially these scooters. They can't handle old gas. So I'm just gonna show you the electronics. And, taillight's not too bright. I'll do the brakes for you. Running light. Yeah. Alright guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this, hope it helps you.